when he started off a little over 20 years ago, it was more traditional HR, trying to reach out to employees, trying to solve their problems. In a nutshell, it was more, it was being reactive. Right? We were reacting to employees. Then, probably after 10 years, we started becoming HR and organization started becoming more and more proactive. Proactive as in trying to identify problems and such as possible. Right? And now I think in the last 4 5 years, it's all about trying to gain insights. Much before, so it's much more than just being proactive, right? How do we gain insights proactively so that we can address issues right in the beginning, right? And that's where stuff which is ABCD, right? Like ready to analytics, etc. That's coming very quickly. So HR or the way employees are managed today in organizations is, I would say, uh, not about being proactive. We would like to understand, the thought process of the employees proactively, without necessarily asking them in many cases, right? And that's where when I was going through some of the banners, right, I was also started to talk about understanding feelings and chemistry of right. So that again comes in. So I think it is more that today. It's more about trying to understand why are certain stuff happening. Right? Trying to use data and information sets to garner insights, and then trying to create automated tools to leverage that. That in a nutshell is how I would say. And for me also, right, personally, it's all about staying in touch with technology, right? Because today, unlike in the past, I think most of the engineering skill sets are life skills, right? They are no longer. It's like how maybe 20 years ago MS Excel was. MS Excel was not a technology skill, but it was a life skill. Today, I think stuff like coding, like AI, and then these are all life skills, right? Everyone ought to have such a realization of that. That in a nutshell is the right?
So I'm Sarthak Agarwal, one of the co-founders of Team. So what we are trying to build is a product to create teams. So I want to understand in corporate how difficult it is for an HR group to create teams for different specializations in the organization, and are there any tools which are helping you to do that? And if there are any tools, what are the difficulties that you face around it?
Sorry, I didn't get your name. Yeah, hi, Sarthak. So today, I think the problem that we're trying to solve, in my limited view, is, I think, a very important problem. Right? And today, we've also gone beyond teams. Right? Today, most organizations use the power structure, which is nothing but teams which are made for a specific project, and then you go back and then you make new teams, right? And these pods also need to be made in a very agile fashion, right? And as you guys know more than me, agile doesn't necessarily mean doing things fast. Right? Agile essentially means trying to react to information, react to information as it comes in, and then trying to react to it. Frankly, we haven't mastered that. So any help that we can get would be great. I don't want to mislead you by saying that there are lots of tools. I think none that I'm aware of. Right? I don't think most corporates use it. Right? I think today we use a gut feel based methods to decide how bots need to be created and managed. Right? One is creation, the second is managed. Right? So that's where we are. So I really don't know what you guys are doing and how you guys are doing it. But from the many signs that should need some, someone should do it.
I'm explaining everything that you're doing later than we thought. So currently, I want to know. So I've heard all of these big companies in the US and all, they try an open innovation kind of thing in their companies, wherein they might give an extra day off or for some hours to just create anything they want to, and then the corporate, the company would help them actually hide the product upfront. So, have you made any such things, or how is this culture in India coming about right now?
Yeah, I think you must be referring to one of the practices that even organizations like Google used to have. Like they used to say, look, 5% of the time could be devoted to your personal work. I think organizations are gone beyond that today, right? Because employees who are passionate do anyway get into the startup process, right? So, for example, if you look at Byju, we very openly say that look, if anyone has an idea, please come and talk to us. So we don't make it very analytical or mathematical by saying that look, you can work on a startup idea for 5% or 10%, but we openly do tell people that if you have an idea, please come and talk to us. We don't mind working with you on the line. To the best of my knowledge, I think most, if you're asking about Indian organizations in particular, I think most of them follow that approach. I don't think many of them are looking at a demarcated time-based approach. I think they're just through conversations, town halls, one-on-one conversations. They are encouraging the engineering and product and even other domain folks to actively and creatively think.
Speaking of this ecosystem, sir, how do you think this is growing within, let's say, within Byju's itself? Are you creating an ecosystem, or is it just the haphazard as of right now? Haphazard in the sense, okay, person comes in, speaks to one of the top guys, that gets the product funded, or they get an innovation team to help them out, or is there any method to the madness there?
Uh, that's a difficult question. So it's very haphazard, not inside a method. Like I said, we just encourage people to talk, and then people just see a few people coming up uh, with ideas, and then we encourage them to start it within the tech space. Like for example, if you look at modules itself, till about 2 weeks ago, we had one business unit and maybe a couple of products. Today we have about 15 products and we have about 12 business units. You'd be surprised to know that 90% of the ideas for these new products and reviews came from India. So if someone comes up with an idea as part of the normal conversation, we encourage the person to work on the idea and then the person becomes a product leader or a review leader. Right? So in a way it's ingrained, it's part of the conversation, we encourage creativity and that's what happens. But there is no clear form, such as what you have here that people are asked to pitch idea. It just comes up and it's been working for us this.
So mine is more previously, so it's more limited to hiring. So when it comes to talent acquisition, the first question is how do we improve traffic? Or maybe how do we convert the traffic that we get from the career space into actual hiring? Are there innovative ways that we come up with? Maybe there's
That's okay. I think. I hope you guys can get the other one. So, I don't know whether they're innovative or not. But see, we use digital marketing platforms. There are so many other mechanisms also that we use. Digital marketing, for example, we also use of Korea marketing on Quora to try and generate some traffic of like-minded folks to the platform. So there's a lot of marketing concepts that we use, like SEO. So we all we have stuff that we're talking about is now in 20 years, right? So it may not be innovative by by the current state of we use all of the
Yeah, it's
things like marketing. But there are not tools per se that we use to what should I say, generate tools. There are tools within each of these practices. But There are no specific tools.
Now, what about tools like VLOM? Like VLOM was, I think, one of the first tools on, which was a pure play AI assessment tool. Have you used any of that either in Byju or in any of your previous podcasts?
Yeah, so we use a lot of recruitment tools once the profile comes in. Right? That is for shortlisting purposes. Right? While we use all these marketing techniques to drive traffic to our websites. Right? Once they come in, we have a lot of parameters. Like for different positions, you have different skill sets, you have different surrogate indicators which you can glean from the CV. So we do use quite a few tools. In fact, we have developed some proprietary in-house tools as well, which are essentially algorithms. I don't know whether to call them AI or ML, right? How do you guys categorize that in a technical way? But yeah, we do use certain algorithms to try and go through the ways of data. Right? We have our own predictive algorithms which give us a perspective on whether this particular person is likely to succeed or not. Now, I think in technical terms, we may call it ML. Right? So we then use data that we generate, we feedback the data. Thank you.
So you should press it down.
Down.
Shashank, press it.
Can you keep it down?
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Press it down.
It's okay.
So we do what you would call as ML, right? So we then use the data of successful people and then we feed it back into the grid and then it kind of keeps improving, right? So in a way, it's an ML program. One could say that.
Now, the follow-up question, right? When it comes to HR, it's not only about talent acquisition, but also to retain employees. Or maybe you can say employee retention or upskilling. Now, the question is, how many of these internal employees take up performance-related plans? Even if they do, is there a way that we can evaluate them periodically? Or do you have any such processes?
So we have lots of processes, but this is one area where not just Byju, most organizations have been cracked because in today's world, right? Unlike in the past, your targets or goals are never constant, right? I'm not even talking about the situation which existed, let's say 15, 20 years ago when people used to set goals and then forget about it, right? At the end of the year, then I think performance management systems evolved to a check-in kind of system where people could dynamic, right, or an agile manner, right? Change goals, so on and so forth. But today, I think we have transcended all of that, right? Today it is about employees identifying problems proactively and solving them, right? Now, if that is the key definition for at least manager and about talent, right? Because as a manager, lot of days when I need to sit and ask my boss to come and tell me that, look, this is the problem and please go and solve them, right? As a manager, I'm trying to proactively identify the problems, right? Before they are identified by someone else. So if I don't even know what problem a manager is going to identify, right, how can I even set goals? So I think it's a very different space. I don't think we have systemically solved the issue because a manager is assessed retrospectively based on the number of problems that he or she identified before they became problems.
Okay.
Right? So it's a very innovative, and particularly in a Byju's kind of a situation where we are running multiple startups within a large startup, right? The ability to spot opportunities as they come up is very important. So every manager therefore becomes an entrepreneur, right? Because the manager has to spot an opportunity. And that's the way we assess. So maybe in a way it's a number of opportunities that a manager spots and solves.
Nagarajan, thank you for being here. Really a great inspiration for all youngsters here. I run a company called Seminar. I have my partner, that's Pankaj Mehta. At Seminar Room, we map CXOs, senior leaders to inspire students on why they learn what they learn. We want to create more inspired and informed youngsters to have their great career choices. We have touched almost 20,000 students live last 1 year. We have most places students coming from even Tier 2, Tier 3 cities of Karnataka, and we have great traction in Madhya Pradesh. And we were reaching out to most of the Tier 2 cities and inspire Tier 3 cities and rural students of India. I have one question because my company works in the area of working closely with MBA students. What are the specific skill sets which make MBA fresher employable?
One is going to be the meta learning ability, right? Someone who has the ability to learn. Because today, all of us are going to become outdated in 6 months' time. If you're not going to, if you're only going to stay with the knowledge that we have today, right? And that applies to me, that applies to you, that applies to everyone. We know that as a universal truth. So I think the ability to constantly learn, I think that's going to be one of the most important. The rest, the soft skills, so on and so forth, I think they can be developed. Till about, let's say, 7 years ago, people probably used to emphasize on soft skills. Maybe early on it was domain knowledge, then it moved to soft skills, right? And then we had a lot of finishing schools coming up all over the place, encouraging people to develop soft skills. And I'm not saying that any of them are not important at this point of time, but the single most quality that will probably differentiate not just a fresher, even someone like me, right, with about 22 years of experience, if I need to be of value to either a consumer or to any other organization, I think if I don't have the ability to learn, today there is as much pressure on me to be updated on the latest concepts as it is on a fresher. I think that's the most important quality.
Once again, the question is related to my company. We onboard at least 30, 40 CXOs, senior leaders every week. I see a lot of passion in the senior leaders to give back to society, give back and help inspire students. Do you have any input, for the seminar room as such in particular? Also, how can we bring in, how can we increase the number or the pace of this we can onboard the senior leaders through HR?
I have a perspective, it may not be an answer which could be a link between both, right? More than giving back to the society, and I know that it's a very noble goal, I think what might interest many CXOs is a symbiotic relationship which also allows them to learn, right? Today, I'm as much concerned about being in sync with the people who are sitting in the room. I'm probably more anxious than them, right? Because the thought process that I could be left behind in terms of what they are learning, what's happening, is a very serious anxiety in me, right? And I can tell you that most of the CXOs are suffering from this anxiety or fear, right? Some of them may openly admit it, some of them may not, right? So as long as we are able to make it symbiotic, right, wherein we can give them a forum whereby they can also stay updated. For example, in one of my previous companies, which is a very traditional, big Fortune 50 multinational company, XLRI, we used to have a concept called reverse mentoring, right, wherein all people above the age of, let's say, 40, 42, used to be paired with someone below the age of 26, 27 so that they can learn from each other. Right. And so we can also build on something like that. Right. And if you can make it meaningful for CXOs.
Okay.
Right? If you can come and tell me that look, by being a part of this, you can learn so much in a week's time. They may not admit that, but that's the single most important anxiety element in most CXOs' mind. I can tell you that.
Personally, I agree. I've learned a lot with these. We are 40, me and Neil are 40. So definitely, I've learned many things, especially on the tech. I've learned from these guys.
I can tell you, I mean, I'm 46, my daughter is 20, she's doing a second year law. And I learn from her daily, right? I learn from my son who is into his 11th standard. There's a lot of stuff that I learn from them. So maybe that could be a label for you. I'm not sure, but that's what is coming to mind.
Very interesting, but still I'm skeptical about it. These guys, senior leaders are open for it, I'm not sure. But very interesting.
Yeah, getting them to admit this as a fear is going to be the biggest what should I say, barrier that you probably need to overcome, right? And the senior leaders who accept it proactively are the ones who will stay in the race.
So nice.
So you said we are working with an agile methodology where teams keep changing every now and then. How do you keep up with that? Like, how does the HR make sure that this is the right team for this kind of product that we want to go forward with? Are there any tools? Do you evaluate them? How is the whole system in the corporate?
So something like I said before, right? There could be, like, because I'm not really Google and check, but to the best of my limited knowledge, I don't think many organizations are using a structured tool to decide on what should be a pod composition or a team composition. Right? Today, I think it's based on a combined decision making that the HR person and the functional head or the departmental head makes, right? And that's a judgmental call that they're making. So, in my view, very difficult for me to comment, but a tool which can help us in the decision making concept is something that one may want to explore.
Sir, my next question is about acquisition. Right? Byju has been known for acquiring a lot of companies over the years. Right? So how do you, if you could just throw some light on how Byju is working towards that, what how management is handling.
Okay, so that may not be, I may not be the right person to comment on that because we have a.
In terms of managing all of these companies.
Okay, so we realize once the acquisition happens, right, we realize that the single most important thing that will make any acquisition successful is cultural integrity. Right, because as you guys must have heard, culture leads strategy for breakfast. Right, so yeah, so we focus on that. We have lots of cultural tools. We do a lot of due diligence. We try and figure out what are the cultural differences. We accept differences openly. Right, we don't try to put things on the carpet. And then we work on creating the right teams. And that's where Sarthak, your question comes in. Becomes very relevant because there's no foolproof methodology to restructure teams, right? I mean, it's more a gut feel that we use. There are some cultural tools that we use, but they're not exactly team-making tools. I mean, we do try and understand the personality styles of people and they're trying to pattern on, but not from a team perspective.
So leading up with the culture statement that you spoke about it, especially in the past 2 years, the HR teams themselves have also, gone through a major change, shifting from an office setup to an entirely remote working, and then kind of back to office but not back to office. Now hybrid, now some remote teams, and there's also a lot of conversations on how much productivity is productivity, right? Countries are moving to 4-day work culture, and there's a lot of happening within the HR space, right? So how are the teams coping with this? Like, how are they dealing with this, and also with the upcoming workforce itself? What are the cultures that you would have to move away from and establishing a new way of work, the new rhythm? How's that working out?
So I would say even before COVID happened, right? This entire conversation about what should be the right hybrid between work from home and work from office has been going on for quite some time. You must have heard about, for example, even Yahoo's, not flip-flop, but how they were initially following the work from home, and then the CEO came in and then spoke about working from office. I think it's a hybrid model that most organizations are moving towards, because today research very clearly suggests, and actually you don't even need to do research for this, that most employees want flexibility, right? I don't think we need to be an Einstein to know that, right? But a lot of research also says that. So I think most organizations are moving towards a hybrid kind of model. For example, in one of our product functions, we said that look, folks can come into office twice in a week, right? And they can decide what those 2 days are and utilize it for certain collaboration activities, which can only happen when people are, present physically together. And then the remaining 3 days they can go out of wherever, right? And I think this is also very important because today, and you guys know this, right? Because you guys are all creators and startup folks. There's no beginning and end to work, right? I mean, you can't tell your brain that, look, I'm going to stop thinking about work or start thinking about work, right? So, therefore, work is a state of mind. Right? It sounds quasi philosophical, but that's how it is. Work is a state of mind, right? So, if work is a state of mind, and it's not a physical place that you go to anymore. You go to a physical. I'm coming here because, well, this also technically could have been done virtually, but there are obviously some benefits also next to each other, right? So 1 or 2 days in that fashion. So every company is moving towards a hybrid model. Because we are recognizing that that's the only way out. It's not a virtue, right? I mean, otherwise, your best employees are not very good with you. Sorry.
That's fine. So this is more referring to the hybrid model that we just spoke about, right? I mean, this is with respect to availability of employees in the organization. Now, how is hiring with respect to hybrid model? Meaning, I believe gone are the days when I look up to full-time employees only to be part of my team. So I've seen some companies hiring a hybrid, virtual hybrid model where I have combination of full-time employees and then some gig workers as well. So do Byju follow that, or how's that?
Yeah, we do follow that when it comes to, let's say, tutors. We do have a lot of tutors who are part-time. And so therefore, the technical answer to your question is yes. But if you were to bring on it, right, when you're talking about gig workers in a very strict sense of the term, I'm not sure whether it has fully evolved yet. There are a lot of startups, in fact, that I know of, who, for example, I know of a startup which provides CFOs, right, and so on and so forth, right. And these are very handy to early stage startups, right. But established organizations moving towards gig workers, I think it's going to happen. All of us know it's only a matter of time. Like you can't avoid the inevitable. But most organizations haven't started moving towards that in a very full-fledged manner, at least at the senior level. At the junior level, like I said, part-time tutors, so on and so forth, but not for senior management position. But that's likely to happen. Because today people, going back to her question, right? Sorry, Kavya's question. Hybrid is soon going to give way to anywhere working, right? And when that happens, and then there is a pod-based working, right? So there are going to be projects which are only going to be relevant for 3 months or 6 months. The kind of skill sets that we're going to require is going to be very different, right? And we are already feeling that, right? And today we manage that by bringing in external consultants, which is in a way the mirror image of your gig workers.
So it's not bonded labor, it's more contract labor.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. We do that for tutors and others, for example, at Byju, but we're not doing it across all domains, but it's only a matter of time.
Discussion is very personal. Definitely feels many of our colleagues here. My biggest worry as an entrepreneur for me, personally, it's not about sales or product, hiring. Right? Because every profile for me looks great, positive. So rather than having entrepreneurs, how do you help us to prioritize, look at the best of the profiles in hiring? Why I'm asking this question? Because we can definitely go and hire some HR consulting. As that we can't do it. We might need one or two initially. We can't sell out one or two on salary for that. That's one question. Second
I
question.
think you need to ask him.
This is what to say, no, I can. That's a question we only.
Like, this to your life.
Yeah, we help you evaluate based on the series. Yeah.
Thank you.
Not just on the series, but also on the series. Yeah.
The second question is connected to that. We started hiring there now, so getting team members joining. Should we keep it open culture? Because today that's what industry demands. All this new joinees want to work from home. You must already answer and keep it open culture. Because we grew up when we started working, it was 9 to 6 or 9 to 9. We were there on time, right? And I know. So now, how do you see this as any input from your end? Okay, as early hiring, okay, our working culture, working time, or getting the work done. Some inputs from you.
To start with, I will qualify by saying that I've never had the courage to be an entrepreneur. Right? So my answers will have to be taken with a big lump of salt. Right? However, having said that, I've also been lucky enough to work in 2 entrepreneurial startups, including my current organization, almost times in the lead and the other is fine. I think in the early stages, working closely helps, right? And I also suspect that it may not be a problem. Again, it's my speculation because most of the folks who are going to work with you are anyway driven by the passion, by the vision, because they believe that it's a problem to be solved and that they are equipped to solve the problem, right? So, otherwise they are not going to be your initial core group in the first place. So therefore, I suspect that working closely, which also means working physically together in a common place, would be needed, and I don't think it may be a challenge because of the reasons that we discussed. Because they are anyway bound by the common passion to solve a specific problem. Right. So I think that would be important, unless of course you need a very specific skill, which is a very evolved skill. For example, accounting. Right. You don't need someone there, right? And there's no passion there because you can outsource that, and you have your neighbor who can help you there. So that's the way I see it. And I must say that my wife runs an entrepreneurial unit, right? And she has also some of these routine functions. So to that extent, I think some of those routine functions need not be based in a place which is physically close to where you are. I think the core functions are going to be more important.
So, a lot of small companies don't usually have an HR sector. I'm not talking about startups, but like the other transportation companies or all of these small companies, around 50, 60 people that they are having. What is the right amount of people before you actually bring in an HR group to your organization? Is there any number, first of all? And second, do you think HR can come into this field in the smaller companies and all later in this century or something? Can it acquire?
I don't think I can give any answer, but I won't skirt the question because this question has been discussed among in many forums, right? I think somewhere around 250 to 300 is when you probably need to bring your proper in-house HR person. And I don't mean a person who will do your routine activities like payroll and not those kind of clerical activities, but someone who can help you in growing the culture. Because going back to both the questions, right? I mean, merging both. Till the first 100, 150, 200, I don't think you will have a problem of attracting like-minded people. Right? So therefore there is going to be a natural bonding from a cultural perspective. But beyond that, you cannot control. So you need someone else's help to try and control that. So I think that's the number where most organizations have either realized and benefited, or some organizations have missed it. By the way, a lot of startups were missed. Bringing on board a good HR person when they hit the 200, 250 mark, only to realize after they hit 800, 900, oh my god, I missed the bus. Now there is a lot of chaos. I wish I had brought someone in.
I think we have discussed varied ways of topics, right? One other thing that we'd like to know is now going forward, what would HR look like? Because there's a lot of merging of technology within the space itself, right? Even in the hiring processes, there are like bots being used, like already we discussed AI and ML, even to do the persona profiling of a potential employee. So there's a lot of technology merging into the HR space itself. So how do you think this is going to progress in the years?
That's a very pertinent question, and one that very closely links to the anxiety factor that I was saying. Right? I personally believe, and I'm qualifying this because I believe I'm naturally personally analytical, but I think HR jobs, the kind of HR jobs that exist today, 90% of them would go away in 2 or 3 years. Right? For example, if he's going to bring Subtech, he's going to bring in a great tool that's going to help in decision making on how parts should be constructed, right? Teams should be constructed. Then the gut feel based judgment is no longer going to be required. So therefore, I believe that the HR would still be needed, but the HR folks who will be needed are the folks who will have the ability to analyze and draw insights. Right? The traditional HR, which is more about relationship management, right, trying to maintain harmony, peace, I think that's going to phase out. Yeah, it's going to, there's a form of polite term that I was planning to use. So it's going to phase out, right? So, only folks who are analytically oriented, who have the ability to understand the kind of technology that is going to be used, right? So, and that's why I was talking about the symbiotic relationship, right? Today, it is as important for me to understand that these kind of tools can be attempted as it is for Sarthak to find an audience, right? Because if I don't understand that and bring that to the table, then I'm not going to add any value to my organization, right? So, HR folks who would make the shift go several notches up in terms of the technology appreciation, who develop the ability to draw insights and construct systemic solutions will be the ones, will be the kind of folks who will have roles.
So you did an HR from MBA very long time back. What do you think has changed in the HR courses right now, and has technology come into place at the moment, or it is still very niche in respect to that in the HR courses, if you know anything?
Understood, yeah. No, I do visit campuses regularly, right? Campus, etc. Unfortunately, I don't think formal courses are keeping pace, I'll be very honest. Right. But however, having said that, some of the other ecosystems within colleges are changing. For example, this ecosystem itself, and you understand by Jacob, is about a year-old person. Right? Correct. So, some of the other ecosystems are creeping up and therefore are preparing students for the corporate careers. But the core courses per se are not changing as fast as they want to, but that's fine because, maybe they need to be really addressed to other ancillary ecosystems. Possibly. Right? So what's very interesting, guys, about this Fireside chat, right? That's what you guys call it. So, is that we seem to be having solutions to most of the questions. But that's the idea, right? It's an interconnected world. Right? So that's the idea.
That's exactly the kind of synergy that we wanted to create actually, that's why. So, I mean, before we kind of open the space for questions among the audience, to end the panel, is there any specific tips that you want to give either for people who are looking to join teams at a larger organization? That would be one, and also a lot of people here who are setting up teams for people to join them itself. So, making that happen.
The second part of the question is very similar to the earlier point that we discussed, right? I think trying to look for people who believe in the fact that this problem needs to be solved, I guess, is going to be the primary way of assembling the core team. In terms of preparing one for a corporate career, like I said, that again also was spoken a little while ago. I think this thought process that I need to constantly learn and be open to any situation, right? Because however prepared you are, once you enter an organization, the nature of problems that are given to you will be very different to, could be very different to what you imagined it could be. Right? The only thing that can help you in those cases is your resilience that look, I can learn anything. The thought that I can learn anything. I think that's the key thought that one needs to cultivate. But that's not an easy thing, right? It's easier for me to sit and give gyan on that. But that comes only when you actually practice learning different things, right? And I used to teach a course on creativity many years ago. One of the things that we used to say is that, look, creativity is not something as is shown in cartoons or movies about that suddenly comes up, right? I mean, you end up reading so many things over many years, and then finally all those things culminate in becoming an idea. Similarly, I think the only way by which you can prepare yourself to be adaptable to learners, if you want that as an input, the only input that I can give you is read and learn diverse things, right? Not just related to your core field, and you never know how these things will come in handy, and that will also become a skill. Learning itself is a skill. That's the only point.
Another question from this?
Hi sir, I'm Pallavi and this is Pratana. We have co-founded a company called Fond. Yeah, we're a personalized pet wellness company. So my question to you is that you told that you joined companies, entrepreneurial companies at a very early stage, right? So what was the stage at which you joined? And as startups, when we have to look for team members, probably someone who's going to stay with us forever and help us get it to a next level. What should be the first thing we see in them without being seem desperate for someone? At the same time, building curiosity and passion for them. How do we do that?
I think it's the same question that we discussed earlier as well, right? Factually, I can answer you. I joined Times Internet at a very early stage. Byju was not very early, but relatively, I don't know how you define it in VC terms, but it was at a, not at a very late stage, but somewhere in the middle of the road kind of a stage, right? How do you attract talent without sounding very desperate? I guess you need to talk more about the business problem that you're trying to solve, right? And my only guess, and I'm not an expert at this, I'll be very clear, is that whoever finds the problem to be interesting to solve would probably reach out. I don't know whether it will work or not. Frankly, I haven't solved this problem that you are asking. So my only guess is that if you go out and market the problem that you're trying to solve, I guess, and if it's a real problem that you're trying to solve, you would find a lot of folks who believe in it and would reach out to you. Maybe they won't reach out to you directly stating that they want to work with you, but they may reach out to you under some pretext or the other, like trying to want to know more, so on and so forth. And then, of course, you can probably gently open up conversations on whether this would entice them from a collaborative. That's the only thought that comes to my mind.
Yeah, hi sir. I'm Rishit. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called PESU Weather. And what we do is we provide hyperlocal weather insights to companies that can use this weather insights to make decisions about the mission critical aspects of their business. So my question to you is, so I think I'll phrase the question, then I'll relate it to how it might be affecting us. What are some of the rookie mistakes that say new HR personnel would do? And why I'm asking that is, I think at our stage, we don't really have a dedicated HR person. So essentially, we are the HR person. So how do we, go about avoiding such mistakes?
So what would yeah, I understood the context of the question. So essentially, if I were to rephrase your question, what are some of the pitfalls that you want to avoid at this point in time, right? One is trying to think, maybe again, please take what I'm saying with a lump of salt, right? Maybe thinking that people who think like you are the best guys, right? That's a mistake that I have made, right? Because heterogeneity should not be confused with lack of merit or whatever, right? So I think I'm not saying we should go out and seek heterogeneity, right? Because some amount of bonding on the vision also helps. But not making the mistake that someone who thinks differently is not necessarily the right talent could probably be one of the pitfalls to avoid. And I know you guys are super smart, right? I mean, so you wouldn't make those mistakes in a very conscious fashion. Maybe try and ensure that it doesn't really impact you at a subconscious level. That could be one. The second one, again, I'm speaking from my experience of having spoken to some of the entrepreneurs who became successful and who spoke about some of the pitfalls. The other thing is, yeah, from a people perspective, yeah, thinking, no, I can't think of anything. Right, I don't want to event answers to you. Right, so I can't think of anything.
You can ask.
Yeah, we can hear.
So myself, Akshay sir, our team is working on a wearable, so which helps you meditate more. So my question is, as a HR team of yours, what kind of leverages you provide to the employees towards the well-being, mental health, such kind of things?
So, let's say what kind of
mental health or well-being, like
no, so we do two things, and again, nothing special. Most organizations today do the two genre of things. One is we have a 24/7 helpline. We don't call it helpline because when you call it helpline, people may feel shy or awkward to reach out, right? We have a 24/7 assistance line. We call it that, right? Where people can to an external person, with an external person, talk openly about all kinds of issues that they are facing. So that's one, and we market it very well. And we don't obviously publish solutions that we have done because of privacy and confidentiality reasons, but we market it very openly, and most organizations, including ours, today report a decent utilization of that. When I say decent, at least 10 to 15% of the population users, which means that it is helpful and people also need it. The second thing that we do is conduct a lot of events, at least once a week, which encourages fellowship and camaraderie building, right? And then we hope that when people bond with each other, they can probably talk about their problems better, because the kind of solutions that a colleague can provide is really good, right? And there is decades old research which says that people who have some good friends in their workplace always end up doing better, socially and even at the workplace. So we try and ensure that we create enough forums for people to cultivate good professional friendships. And we hope that that can also help people in maintaining a healthy mental state. So these are the two things that we do and most organizations do.
For the follow-up question, sir. So institutions like you, big companies, will you be willing to take the solutions from the other side? Like if you think we provide something as a variable to you, would your institutions mind buying them in order for
We
them
don't
to?
have an option. I mean, that's the main
No, I mean, would you come up with your own, or would you prefer buying from other?
Most organizations today, I can't give a 100% guaranteed answer here, but in 90% of the cases, organizations, including all the organizations that I've worked in, including the current organization, they don't want to enter into areas which is not their primary area of expertise. So the answer to your question is definitely yes. For example, the 24 by assistant that we spoke about is also a partnership with an external entity.
Thank you.
Okay, you can laugh.
So I'm Ananya and I'm a founder too, and I work with PDF. So my question is, you've worked in multiple industries, right? Say the edutech industry, the insurance, IT companies, so on and so forth. Do the hiring strategies change from each domain that you pick? Say as you mentioned, Byju uses agile strategy, right? So does that change from one domain to another? That's the question.
Yeah, it does change. By the way, the agile concept that I mentioned is not a strategy, it's more the way of life that we have at Byju and many other organizations. There is nothing innovative about it. Right? In terms of strategy, the answer is yes. Why across industries, even within the same organization? For example, if within Byju, each function would have its own strategy. Right? Each function would have its own approach. Why? It can be one step further. Within a particular function, you could have each, the three senior leaders, the three vice presidents in a particular function, each of them may want to drive a different strategy. So the answer is yes, because everything is topical and everything is based on the specific need.
I think you didn't tell me about your company. You can introduce it.
Okay, so the startup that I'm working on, she's my co-founder too. It's an automobile startup. It's called Smart Chakra, which automatically inflates and deflates the tire depending upon the tire pressure. So it detects the increase, then it deflates. It will deflate whenever there is an increase in the tire pressure.
That's a very awesome product. Maybe I should know more about it because it will save me the trouble of standing in petrol bunks and then telling them, please keep it at 31, 32, 33, right? It's a big pain, right? Both standing in the queue and then telling them to do it. So I think that sounds to be a immediate usable product. So, yeah.
My name is Shrikar. I'm a co-founder of PhysiFit. We are into the physical rehabilitation and physiotherapy market. And we see a lot of patients who are going to be using our product are coming from the regular 9 to 5 job hours, and they complain of spinal cord injuries or poor, seating arrangements. So, is there any such policies at Byju to help, cover all these kind of back injuries or anything related to the health of physical health?
Yeah, most companies have insurance schemes which covers all of these things. And nowadays there are modern insurance schemes which also cover non-hospitalization or outpatient consultations as they are saying, right? So the answer is we also have those. For example, we recently introduced an insurance scheme wherein outpatient consultations which do not involve hospitalizations are also covered. That's one. The second answer, probably you didn't ask me the question, to your point is many organizations, again including for a long time, I've also been having a lot of programs to prevent injuries in the first place. Right. So we also do that. For example, when a new employee joins, we practically demonstrate how ergonomics should be factored in, right? What are the postures, right? There are periodic interventions or games that we run, which promote fitness, whether it is step-a-thon, walk-a-thon, right? For example, even a couple of weeks ago, we ran a competition on people who completed the maximum number of steps, right? So a lot of preventive interventions are done every week by many companies, not just by Byju. And also the concept of outpatient insurance is picking up big time. I think there is also a recent startup, I forget the name, which has started the concept of insurance for outpatient consultations. I don't remember the name, but yeah, that's right. That's correct. That's correct.
Just to follow, is there existing tools used by Byju specifically for physical rehabilitation, like for that purpose, or it's just to say like certain general procedures, which like you mentioned?
No, we don't get into the what do you call the therapy space. There is no such thing at this point.
But just to add on the last point, Shekhar, basically, many of these corporates have a dedicated wellness partner. So, like how it could be, Manipals of the world, or Apollos of the world, where many of these large campuses have a clinic in-house, and they also work with companies like UIG. Right, UIG apparently happens to be the largest healthcare provider across the globe, United Health Group. They do a lot of, in fact, they have another subsidiary called Optum, which does quite a bit of these, preventive and wellness kind of initiatives. So they are strategic partners. Some of these things are either directly dealt by the corporate or they get it done through their insurance or the risk carriers.
Thank you. So you got two buyers.
Hi, sir. My name is Ayush. I'm a project management intern at PESU. So you told Shashank and Sarthak there that in the next 2-3 years, you think 70 to 80% of all HR jobs will be obsolete if such tools come into play.
Yeah, maybe I was being
Yes, sir. But if you're able to automate all these processes and if you're able to bring in structures where all these events that are happening can be made an annual thing or a quarterly thing and all of these, why is HR still lucrative? Why is it still like? Do you think it's still going to be a very lucrative place to like a space to work in? Why do you think HR is still required? Like people in HR
for folks like you are building solutions in the people's space.
No. I'm looking from like a job point of view. Like why would I?
It's still great, but then, as long as the person who's entering the HR space is going to realize that look, I can add great value by developing the ability to generate insights and construct solutions. Right? If I enter HR with that mindset, then it's going to be a lucrative space, right? Because no one is saying that the concept of managing people in organizations is going to go away, right? That's going to remain for some more time. I don't know for how long, right? We can't predict the future, but for the foreseeable future, what I'm personally saying, what I'm personally thinking is that most of the hygiene kind of stuff, maintaining relationships, trying to act as a decision maker by talking to folks, understanding what they think, etc., is going to be automated. Right? And there will be better decision-making tools, going to be better predictive tools which are going to come into place, right? So which is very healthy business manager make decisions by himself or herself. So in that context, the role of HR is in fact going to become far more strategic, right? But a person who is intuitively analytical and a person who has the ability to connect the dots, glean insights, and construct systemic solutions, not systemic solutions would have a great time in HR. In fact, HR would gain far more respect than what it has at this point of time, though it has increased, over the years. But probably, they would get not more respect than what they have got, because today it's all seem to do other stuff which can be automated. That's what I want.
Thank you.
question to myself. Myself, I'm part of the maybe 2, 3 questions what I have from the team, the group is. One gentleman said that what to do with the HR manager. Yes, every individual HR should be an HR. And second is nowadays organization is moving from employee well-being to healthier organization, from industrial relation to employee relation. This is how HR being HR. Apart from that, due to this current global impact, there are a lot of variations that happen in HR. One is because of inflation, because of Ukraine war, because of COVID-19. A lot of changes are happening, a lot of changes are most like work-wise diversity. Then something called as a decentralized work site. So how exactly can just throw a light on this, how we can face such situations?
So is your question about how do we face situations which are changing dynamically? Is that the core of your question? There is no silver bullet to it. Right. It's just like, the perspective about a fresher having to be open to ideas and constantly learn. I think organizational senior folks in organizations or organizations as a whole also need to realize that situations will change and we need to be open to it. That's the only way by which there is no prescription in my personal view, because if I don't know what's going to happen 1 year down the line, how can I even construct a solution for that? All that I can do is I can keep myself ready to be in a state of mind where I know that tomorrow, even if the situation turns upside down, I will have the wisdom and the adaptability to build something completely different. Let's take COVID, right? 90% of the organizations got really worried, including Byju. But contrary to what many folks thought, right? Our business was doing extremely well before COVID as well, right? Because, for example, electronic shopping, so on and so forth, they've been in existence for the last 10 years, right? I mean, it's not that people's habits started changing now. And when COVID happened, 90% of the organization, including Byju's, got worried, right? Why? Because our models were all based on going and meeting parents in their houses, counseling them, explaining to them, right? Now, if you can't do it, then how do you explain? Can you explain to parents on the phone? Can you explain to parents through VC, through Zoom, whatever, any of these tools? No one had experimented with that. But I would say that 70% of those 90% organizations were able to create new methods in the next 1 month, including Byju's, right? All our sales force. If you have about 15,000 people, all of them were retrained. We came up with new digital tools, right? Things which would have normally taken 6 months, 1 year to build, were built by our software engineers within 5 days, 10 days. And we were able to convert most of the things to a digital, what should I call it, framework, for want of a better phrase. And we were back in business and our productivity actually went up. Now, how did we do it? Because I think it was Suresh was asking the other question right now, where do you guys get the aggression from? Because there is this thought process that there is a solution to everything. So I think that's the only state of mind preparedness that we can do, because we don't know what's going to come. Sorry, I couldn't answer your question in terms of specific talisman, but it's only a state of mind that we have to be.
Maybe preparedness can be very hedge of concept now. All the employees should be ready to open their tentacles whenever the situation happens.
Exactly. That's all, right? And we try and, going back to some of the questions on hiring, etc., that all of us had, right? Therefore, we try and hire people, at least in critical positions, who have that state of mind. One of the things that we, for example, look at when hiring people, right, particularly lateral people, is whether they have the ability to solve unknown problems. Because known problems many people can solve. Unknown problems are the ones which are most difficult to solve.
the teams will meet you one-on-one and then continue the discussion. So now we will end this. Thank you so much for taking the time out and.
My pleasure.
Okay.